So hello guys and welcome to the 8th episode of Chris Talks Football. Today we are going to round up the Premier League as always and of course we're going to do the Championship and the rest of the EFL, but the big stories from the Premier League is off the back of that Norwich defeat. Many questions, Manchester City, but I don't think a lot of people are questioning whether that was a blip or not, because they went ahead and absolutely harassed Watford. That was not a humiliation, that was a harassment. Legitimately. They beat them 8-0. We will have more reaction and insight analysis on that as well. Also, West Ham and Leicester, the surprise packages so far this season. Are they outside shots for Europe? We don't know. Manchester United and Chelsea both losing. The game of the weekend really was at Arsenal. They managed to come from 2-1 down away to win against Aston Villa. And Everton, their defensive problems mount, and so does the pressure on Marco Silva as they suffered a defeat to Sheffield United. All that and more coming your way. So then, it was match day number 6 of the Premier League season, and well, last week it was Norwich who managed to beat Manchester City, their first defeat in, I think it was 19 games rather. But Manchester City more than bounced back by absolutely destroying Watford 8-0. 8. Incredible stuff for Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne might just be the best midfield player in the world. I'm going to go as far as to say that, I think it could be, because the cross he delivered for the first goal was beautiful and his all-round play was just incredible, and really he's just a joy to watch. I'm pulling the strings, but a lot of people were saying, including me, were saying that Manchester City's defensive problems could mount or could worsen because of their injury to Stones and Laporte. But Fernandinho slots into the back pretty decently. So, hopefully he can deliver some results, because this is a really, really important time for Manchester City. They're up and running in the Champions League. They need to qualify from that group, which I think they will. And of course, they need to get their act together if they're going to win their third Premier League title. But for Watford, I mean, this was just, they might as well chuck the reserve team out for all the good the first team did, because Quique Sanchez-Flores was making substitutes when they were 5-0 down. The manager realised, screw this, I'm just putting on whoever's on the bench, to be honest, who could get some game time. And it was embarrassing. I mean, Watford, it was a repeat of the FA Cup final. Not the scoreline, but in the manner that Manchester City won. But, VAR was in use. It checked the penalty which Sergio Aguero put away. But was it a penalty? Ben Foster and Riyad Mahrez clean through? Well, we'll keep on VAR in a moment. But for me, I think there wasn't a lot of contact, but there was enough contact for him to go down. That is all I'm saying. But Manchester City, they've got 13 points, which is very good. But Watford are still in the relegation zone. They still have 2 points they've got. So it really isn't a good time to be a Watford fan, because they're not getting any results. They are just not getting any results, but they they really need to get some results in, otherwise fans will start worrying, okay? Because Watford is a Premier League side, that they have a Premier League fan base. They've got look at their squad. They've played in big teams, the likes of Etienne Capoue, who was playing at Tottenham a few years back, Gerard Deulofeu, who played for Barcelona 2 or 3 seasons ago. I don't know, either the players are not performing or they haven't got the right manager. And this is the thing, they cannot keep sacking managers every time they get a cold. Just stick with them. Gracia's gone after 4 games. Lad, that's 360 minutes of football and Gracia's gone. I mean, the owners of Watford really need to question whether, they can take any more, because the managers, they keep hiring and sacking managers left, right and centre. Quique Sanchez-Flores, I think, will keep Watford in the Premier League, but it's not going to be, the lower half of the table season that I imagined. But yeah, it's just going to be a rehab match for Watford next time out. Manchester City were probably going to be hoping earlier on today that Liverpool would lose away at Chelsea, and guess what? They didn't. They managed to beat Chelsea 2-1, and that was a really good result for Jurgen Klopp, because Liverpool remain top, they remain unbeaten, and most importantly, they remain 5 points off further than Manchester City, which is a very good thing, because of course they are the only contenders to Manchester City, and it could be that way for a number of years, because Liverpool do play some good football. Trent Alexander-Arnold scored from a free kick, and it was pretty much a free kick from the training ground. A little flick on, I think. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Robertson or Salah. But he just, a little flick, a little back heel, and then Alexander-Arnold just placed it into the corner. Before Chelsea had a goal disallowed. Was it a disallowed goal? Well, Mason Mount, who recovered from that knock that he took against Valencia in the Champions League, Mason Mount was offside by a touch, I think. So it was a good decision in the end. But in the end, Chelsea did manage to get a goal, which was important because they needed it. But in the end, Roberto Firmino scoring a header, and Liverpool winning 2-1. Kepa had to make a save, a really good save, to prevent Liverpool from making it 3. But, Liverpool, their link-up play this season is just really good to watch. And, they're going to be a force, 100%. Are they back to the days of old, when they were dominating Europe and England? The early 80s is what I'm trying to refer to, because they had the likes of Kenny Dalglish, Ian Rush, John Barnes, all those, quality players. And I think with the likes of Salah, Firmino, Mane, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, they are back to those winning ways, because that they are just on a different level to last season, 100%. But yeah, for Chelsea, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats, 8 points out of a possible 18. Exactly the sort of start I saw Frank Lampard having. I didn't see them drawing to Sheffield United, and yeah, but it's the exact kind of start that they had. But their home form this season, they drew to Leicester at home, they've drawn to Sheffield United at home, and they've lost to Liverpool today. So I don't think Chelsea fans should be worried. Oh, we're gonna finish outside the top 6. Relax, all right. You've got a long way, and you've got a transfer ban, which will affect any team, whether they're at the top of the league like Manchester City and Liverpool, or whether at the bottom of the league like Newcastle or West Ham. Speaking of West Ham, my goodness, they've got 11 points out of 18, the same as Leicester, and Manchester United just seems to be the club that they always beat. Am I happy? Of course I am, because it's a West Ham win. Aaron Cresswell scored a delightful free kick, which I'm sure most of you saw. It was a really good free kick. He came back as well, Aaron Cresswell, so it was good to see him getting on the score sheet. Yarmolenko is just a different player this season to the one we saw last season, because he was injured. He wasn't putting in his best performances, but now I think this season under Pellegrini, he's pretty much one of his key players. But the link-up play, Mark Noble, Anderson, and Yarmolenko, it's just really good to see, especially for the first goal, the way that Noble, Anderson and Yarmolenko linked up. But speaking of Mark Noble, should he have been sent off for a challenge against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. For me, I'm going to get a lot of stick for this, but I think it was very close. I think a yellow card is a bit of an understatement for that challenge. I think he might have got away with it because, for me, it's a red card. He doesn't get the ball whatsoever. It's late. He's caught Wan-Bissaka really hard on the ankle, I think. And, he's lucky, Wan-Bissaka, that he hasn't, been seriously hurt or injured by it. But I think that's a red card. I have no idea. What do you guys think? Was it a red card? Was it a yellow? But yeah, VAR, even though VAR checked it, they still gave a yellow card. But I'm not a professional referee and I don't work in that VAR room. So what do I know? But West Ham fans, some of them are saying that we're going to be in Europe next season. Relax, lads. We've only played 6 games, all right? So calm down. We've beaten Manchester United, so we shouldn't get all giddy and saying, "Oh, we're going to finish really high up in the table." I do maintain that we're not going to finish in Europe. I'm sorry to kill any dreams that might have been made, but yeah, it's good. But whereas for Manchester United, I mean, what is going on? They barely beat Leicester. They drew against Southampton. They've lost against Crystal Palace. I mean, and they've drawn against Wolves. So what's going on? They haven't won. They've only won 2 games. One on the opening day against Chelsea, which was their best performance this season, by the way, against Chelsea. But they just can't seem to catch a break now. They didn't really have a lot of chances. I think the Harry Maguire chance that was saved by the goalkeeper Fabianski was the only real chance of note. By the way, how Harry Maguire did not finish that is beyond me. But maybe it's down to Fabianski's good reflexes, or maybe it's the fact that Harry Maguire shoots like an absolute frog. I've no idea. But yeah, Maguire needs to work on his shooting. But yeah, is that 80 million paying off? For me, the only game where he's looked really good is the one against Chelsea on the opening day. That's where he looked solid. But since then, his performances have been a bit meh, a little bit average. So, I don't know whether that was money well spent. Wan-Bissaka, he's doing okay. I think he's on a little bit more of a level than Maguire in terms of form. But yeah, I think really we need to give them time, which is what I'm doing. I'm not going to immediately say, "Oh, Harry Maguire is complete horse bollocks. They shouldn't have signed him for 80 million." But yeah, it's only been 6 games. It's only been just over a month of the season gone. So it's still a long way to go. What else? Leicester City, another team on the up, and James Maddison, after the Spurs game, which they won 2-1, in which he scored a really good goal, he said that we are a top side. Leicester are a top side. I mean, you don't win the league and expect not to be taken seriously. I mean, the Premier League win was a miracle, but I think after that, they're going to be taken seriously as a top side. They have got arguably the best young squad in the Premier League. Maddison, Chowdhury, Barnes, who else? I don't know the age of Ricardo Pereira. Soyuncu is doing, decently. He's doing better than Harry Maguire, that's for sure. But yeah, Leicester building together a really good little team. Ricardo Pereira scoring and Maddison, as I said. Tottenham did have a goal disallowed though. Serge Aurier. Was it a goal? Was it not? I am not entitled to say. I think that the referee did make the correct decision though. But yeah. But Harry Kane's goal was very strange because he fell on the ball and yet still managed to score, which I have no idea. But of course, he's one of the best finishers in the world. So, why should I not expect that? But Spurs, where are they? I believe they are 8th. Leicester and West Ham tied on 3rd with Arsenal, who we're going to get onto now. Because when they were 2-1 down against Aston Villa, I'm thinking to myself, holy Christ, Mr. DT and all the other guys from Arsenal Fan TV are going to absolutely slam Unai Emery for losing against a newly promoted side. But Aubameyang and Callum Chambers, who I thought his Arsenal career was dead and buried after that pig wank spell he had at Fulham, where he only contributed to the defence by just leaving the door open. He scored, so did Aubameyang. It's a good season for Aubameyang, isn't it? He scored against Watford, he scored against Newcastle, he scored against Spurs, I believe, as well. So, you know, he's having a decent season, picking up where he left off. But Aubameyang is one of the best strikers in the Premier League, no doubt. Aston Villa will be kicking themselves that they didn't, you know, at least get a point out of it, especially when Callum Chambers scored. But they just sat back. They invited. They were like, come on to us. They literally did not care. They didn't really do a lot. But yeah, it's not a good time to be an Aston Villa fan. They're still at the bottom three. And the run that they're on, you know, they've only won, I think, one game. And that was the win against Everton. So really, it's not going well for Villa. And I do fear for them. I think they're going down. But again, another team who I think are going down are Norwich City. They lost to Burnley. 2 quick-fire goals from Chris Wood with his head made Burnley 2-0 winners. And that's a good win for Burnley. That really is a good win for Burnley. And they're on they've got 4 points out of the last 2 games, which is very encouraging. So even if they did lose to Liverpool, they've got a decent run going because, you know, Burnley, I think that they've lost to Liverpool, they've lost to Arsenal. So, you know, the 2 teams of any real world-class quality that are in their side, they've lost to. So, you know, they've gone and got a couple of decent points. They've got 8 points, I believe, which is the same as Chelsea. I'm not too sure about that one, though, so don't cash in. Norwich City, I mean, that win against Manchester City will never happen again. That was like the Leicester League win. It won't happen again. But as I say that, Leicester are doing really well. They've just beaten Spurs and played well against the likes of Chelsea and Manchester United. They haven't played City and they haven't played Arsenal, so allow it. So Bournemouth played on Friday night and they managed to beat their South Coast rival Southampton 3-1. Southampton's defence, Jesus Christ, they are leakier than... I'm not even going to go anywhere with this analogy, but yeah, what the third goal that Bournemouth scored, what was going on there? Bednarek and the goalkeeper just seemed to get confused, and Callum Wilson with probably the easiest goal he'll ever score in his career. There was a penalty shout for Che Adams for Southampton. Was it a penalty? Yes, it was. James Ward-Prowse scored. That is a penalty, 100%. I mean, Che Adams, okay, that it was a bit of a heavy first touch, but he invited it on pretty much. Because if you take a heavy first touch just outside the penalty area and you've got one man that you're trying to get past, for me, that's just inviting a penalty. If you get to that and he brings you, and he, you know, makes contact with you, you're going to go down. The footballer in you will go down. So, yeah, it's instinctive from Che Adams. But Bournemouth, they're going guns blazing at the moment. They're, I think, in 5th place. So, you know, Eddie Howe's got a good squad. If they can keep it together, then, you know, that'll be brilliant. Philip Billing, by far man of the match. He controlled everything in midfield. He's looking like a good signing from Huddersfield. So one of the best businesses that Huddersfield have done should have kept in, and we'll get on to that later. Sheffield United, my goodness, what a win that is. Everton, defensively, are more open than Mia Khalifa's vag. Honestly, seriously, they need to do something about set pieces. They've conceded 1 in every 2 goals they've conceded have come from set pieces. Lads, do they not, in training, do they just play cards? Then they don't know how to defend a corner, they don't know how to defend a free kick. And the pressure is really on Marco Silva now. Because, you know, the signings they made, Moise Kean, what else? Alex Iwobi. Let me try and think. I'm trying to think now. Goodness. Andre Gomez, permanently. These are top sides. These have all come from sides that are better than Everton. Moise Kean was playing at the back arse of last season for Juventus. Andre Gomes was playing for Barcelona a few years ago. Alex Iwobi was playing for Arsenal 25, 30 games a season. And yet he bloody decides to drop down to Everton. Which probably will be the decision he's regretting. But Everton, as I said, won't finish in Europe. And if Marco Silva gets out of the job alive, then scarves off to you. That'll be madness. But for Sheffield United, 2 wins this season, and I don't think many people expected that. Over, a quarter of Sheffield United's games would end up with 3 points. That is very good, and they've won against Crystal Palace and Everton, 2 teams that they can really, take the fight to. Chris Wilder will keep them up. He's done a very good job. He's got the highest win percentage of anyone in the Football League. So, yeah, good stuff for them. Also in the other games, Newcastle and Brighton played out a piss-boring 0-0 draw. I mean, Newcastle would have wanted to win that because they've only won once this season, and that was against Spurs away. What else? And Crystal Palace drew 1-1 with Wolves earlier on today. Wolves, they lost in the Europa League, which I thought was pretty embarrassing. I mean, losing at home to Sporting Braga when you literally beat Manchester United twice at home last season is a little bit embarrassing, but they'll be fine. Crystal Palace will be fine as well. Christian Benteke, as ever, doing wank all up front, missing a piss-easy chance to put Palace 2-1 up. But, yeah. Right, now we will get on to the Football League. And, my goodness, Huddersfield Town are in deep trouble because they've lost at home to West Brom and at home away to West Brom. This is Sunderland all over again. Honestly, I've never seen, apart from Sunderland, a team perform that badly when they've been relegated. Seriously, lads, it's really, I just can't believe it, really, because Danny Cowley, stepped down from Lincoln, but went to Huddersfield, and I thought he was going to work wonders with Huddersfield to get them, into the playoffs. But wow, I really didn't think that, it would be like that. But it is what it is. Huddersfield will have to pick themselves up. They cannot keep doing this again, otherwise they'll be in real deep trouble. But elsewhere in the Championship, Swansea, who were the league leaders, they drew at home to Bristol City as well, which was meh. Leeds United and Derby County played out a 1-1 draw. Stoke, shock, played out a 0-0 draw against Brentford. QPR, they're doing well. They beat Millwall, their London rivals, 2-1. And Fulham managed to snatch a draw with Sheffield Wednesday. In League One, Blackpool slipped up a little bit and they drew 1-0 to Accrington Stanley. Doncaster doing well. Bolton Wanderers had their win snatched from the jaws by Sunderland. And Oxford United beat Lincoln City away from home 6-0. Michael Appleton was confirmed as the Lincoln City boss. He wasn't actually in the dugout for the game. But my goodness, he must have been thinking, why have I inherited a team that play like a bunch of drunken cats? Because that is what it was like. Ipswich carried on their good record to stay top of the league against Gillingham. And in League 2 then, it was Leyton Orient who lost against Colchester in the London match. Colchester beating Leyton Orient by 2-1, which I'm sure Harry will be delighted about. He's probably singing, we're going up to League 1 by now. But here's if it makes you feel any better, Salford, the Manchester scum, described by Harry, lost 4-1 away to Crewe. What else happened as well? Exeter, they managed to draw against Newport. That's a blow for Exeter because they were really going guns blazing as well. But yeah, that is it for this edition of the Chris Talks Football Podcast. Hopefully you did enjoy. Sorry that I couldn't get Harry or Will or Ethan or anyone else to come on today. That was my fault. But yeah, hopefully they'll be ready to come for the next episode. By the way, the next episode, I do have an announcement to make, so stay tuned for that. But from me,